Adolescence is a time when students begin to discover their adult selves. They experiment. They push their boundaries. They take risks, and often alcohol and/or drugs are in the mix. Across Canada, laws are in place restricting teen drivers with zero tolerance for alcohol and/or drugs to ensure they drive safe. Despite this, a 2016-2017 Canadian survey tells us that 5% of students in grades 7 to 12 reported they drove after drinking, and 4% reported having driven a vehicle within 2 hours of using cannabis. In Ontario, 2019 survey data shows that 15% of students reported riding in a vehicle driven by someone who had been drinking alcohol, and 10% report riding in a vehicle driven by someone who had been using drugs at least once in the past year. These numbers are concerning. We need to do all we can to ensure young people never drive after drinking or using drugs, or get into a vehicle with someone who's been drinking or doing drugs. MAD Canada's goal is to get to zero impaired driving crashes, deaths, and injuries among teen drivers. MAD Canada's school program is a proven tool designed to empower students in grades 7 through 12 to make better, safer choices when it comes to alcohol, drugs, and driving. Bring MAD Canada's school program to your school and help us teach your students how to stay safe. Let's work together to end impaired driving among teens.
The show was really hard-hitting.
It was really impactful, and it's still in my head.
And the show was just shocking.
It really opened my eyes. Today when we were watching the video, I think a lot of people were fairly impacted by it. I saw a couple people crying.
Like, it's more than statistics, it's stories, and you hear people's stories and you hear their emotion and you realize how much your actions can affect people.
MAD Canada's powerful hour-long presentation begins with a compelling dramatization that tells the story of an impaired driving crash involving teenagers. Speaking to students in a language they understand, it illustrates the life-altering consequences of bad decisions. The dramatization is followed by true-life stories from actual survivors and victims who offer personal testimony of impaired driving's very real, devastating effects.
I hope one day to not be in pain and to be able to work and support myself and be independent again and not need to count on other people for help all the time.
The stories are followed by an interactive audio experience that engages students to navigate the difficult kinds of choices they might face in an impaired driving scenario. The entire program is a comprehensive educational resource that also includes a youth manual, posters, and an educator's guide to help teachers initiate meaningful discussion with students after the presentation.
I think the emotions hit home right after the presentation. When they come back to class and they've just seen it, that is when the dialogue happens.
I think it empowers them to be able to speak up to each other because they have heard that same message.
Students leave MAD Canada's school program having learned 4 practical lessons that will resonate and stay with them in the months and years ahead. Never drive impaired. Never get into the car with an impaired driver. Always plan ahead, and call 911 to report a suspected impaired driver. At MAD Canada, we're proud of the effect our school program has had on teen behavior to date. Follow-up surveys have proven that our program empowers students to make better choices, especially when the lessons are reinforced year after year. Since we launched our program, impaired driving statistics for this age group have started to trend down, which is great news. But they're not down to zero, where we know they can be and should be. There is still more work to be done.
MAD Canada has been delivering this program since 1994. For us, it's the idea of changing generational thinking. Do these school programs make a difference? They do, no question.
I would recommend it 100%. It is one of the most effective presentations I've ever seen.
Join us in our fight to end impaired driving. Call today and book MAD Canada's school program at your school. Let's work together to teach these important lessons to your students and keep them safe.